Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out Catlateral Damage by developer Chris Chung. This is another game for the 7-day FPS challenge, and the goal in this one is you play as a cat from the first person perspective and you are to swat stuff onto the floor with a 2-minute time limit. So let's just jump into things. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. It's a kind of a cute premise and I really want to see how this goes. So we've got a big old timer at the top and a projected cat paw shooting out of the front of the screen as if it was our weapon. And today it is our weapon, just in a different way than usual. So we're going to run around and smack into things and just knock them on the floor. I'm pretty sure this is a game that most cats play on a daily basis, and this is the first time I've had the opportunity to play this game myself. So each time we knock something on the floor, it's going to be accounted for in our list here, and then a total number is going to accumulate on the left side here. The one thing that I feel a little sad that doesn't seem to be present is there isn't like a swipe action. Like if I click, nothing happens. I was kind of hoping you would just like slide your paw from left or from right to left or something to make it a little bit easier to hit some of these objects. Like this book here, you can kind of push it along. Oh, I'm not sure why it just bounced up in the air that high. But there's no real way to just trigger like smacking it actively. You just sort of have to push it and then knock it off. And also it's a little bit disturbing, well, maybe not disturbing is the right word, but a little bit confusing to watch the screen jerking around this fast. I think most people are going to have a little bit of motion sickness if you have to swing your viewpoint around that much. At the very least, it could give somebody a headache, which you never really want to do. But I'm not really sure there's a great way around that other than maybe increasing like the frame of viewpoint, maybe make that larger, and make the paw a little bit less dependent on jerking the screen around. Maybe just make the paw move a little bit independently within the screen, so maybe like hold control, and then whenever you're holding control, you gain the ability to use the mouse as the paw, and then you could just smack things around with your own, I don't know, whatever mouse movements you want to make. I think that would probably make the whole experience a lot easier. In general, though, I think this is a really promising idea, even though, this is an early version of this concept of where it could go. I would imagine something like a Katamari Damacy situation where you have this time limit, a sweet song plays in the background, and eventually when you win, if you have, enough objects knocked down, you could progress to the next room in the house until you've conquered the entire house. Then maybe you can move on to, like, the shed outside, or, I don't know, conquer the neighborhood, start knocking things off the roofs. It could get really silly. I mean, the great thing about being a cat is you can jump super high by default, which the developer definitely capitalized on. And, you should be nimble, you should be able to walk through places that humans can't normally get. And the concept is actually fairly interesting and plausible from a gameplay design perspective. I think, this is a thing that really does actually make sense. Cats do run around, knock things off shelves, and it's not that crazy to imagine a cat just going berserk and having fun with all the objects it can find in here. So it's just sort of like a great gamification idea for a concept that actually seems like it was ripe for the taking, I guess. So we've knocked down a piece of trash, a chopstick. What are these? A bunch of markers, I guess. Yeah, so really the controls being a little bit more deliberate and the viewpoint being a little bit more delicate would probably be things that I would definitely want to see done if there were to be more things. I would also imagine this could work rather nicely if you were to integrate like a maze-like scenario where you had to like navigate the house quickly to reach other parts and, use your feline instincts, being able to see in the dark and such. See, it's very difficult to knock some of these square-shaped objects off because you can't get low enough to the ground. And there's not really a duck option, so you just sort of have to push things along, which is just kind of awkward. But again, no criticisms here are all that serious, considering this is a 7-day FPS game. This was made in a week, so, well done. It is a Unity game. Of course, I'm playing this in the browser, and I just want to clear off this one surface if I can. I think this pen is going to get in the way. But it's very cool that you can just jump into something like this, play it in the browser, not have to even download a client or anything. It's just ready to go. And it's pretty wild that you can be a cat and just knock over this entire television. It's a pretty serious thing to knock over. And it looks like we've got a Nintendo Entertainment System over here, although the strange colors on the eject slot. And then we can go and look at the list of all the things we've knocked over. I'm not sure I like the default UI stuff that's in Unity, the buttons having the sheen to them and having rounded edges. UI-wise, I don't think that's the strongest thing, but at the same time, again, not a huge deal. Now, how do we make it up to something like this shelf up here? Can we bounce off of one of these pillows? Yep, okay, I think that might actually be the case. Maybe we need to do some clever platforming to make it up to some of these areas. which actually, again, would be another reason why having control make the paw become independent of the viewpoint make a lot more sense. That way you're not accidentally knocking over stuff you might have to platform off of. See, that's a pretty difficult jumping platforming situation there, but should be worth it because we can knock over all of these books. I'm also missing the sound effects and stuff. That would be definitely a big deal if we could integrate some loud clattering, crashing, glass breaking sounds and such. Well, in the cases where that might make sense, I think it would certainly aid in things. I mean, the graphics are simplistic, but I don't seem to be bothered by them. They seem fine to me. I think actually they're pretty well done for what it is. A situation like this, I think, does call for some simplistic graphics. I think, again, evoking that Katamari Damacy feeling, where everything is sort of squared and silly. It seems like the better way to go. You want to go for like a cartoonish, humorous approach, especially when we're talking about something like Katamari Damacy, where you're rolling up people into a ball and shooting them into space where they will die. Like, it's nice to not know that or think about that when we're actually considering it. In this case, just objects hitting the floor. Not quite as serious, but still, it does make the game a little bit more accessible and funny. Just having this sort of an art style. I think the cat's going to get crushed on this TV now. Did I knock it down? Okay, I did. Doesn't have to be on the ground, just has to be close enough to the ground. Even if it's touching another object, it looks like that'll still work. So I've made quite a mess of this room, more so than maybe I had in the past. The DVDs on the top, I think those are going to aid in my high score. And this is also a game that's begging for leaderboards. But then I get stuck on some stupid book like this, and it just becomes very difficult to make anything move around. Yeah, see, that's a little frustrating. The concept is there, just needs some tweaking, and I think I quite like it, actually. I fell 36 things. A pillow, a robot, DVDs, lots of DVDs, books, bookends, DVDs, a robot, controller, game console, DVD player, TVD, that's a thing, and more books. So, I don't know, I guess we'll wrap things up. Catlateral damage, pretty cool concept, worth playing, totally free. See if you can knock over everything in the room. I think that will be quite an insurmountable challenge, given the amount of time you have and the amount of rectangular objects that you can't easily push with your paw. But I really like the fact that there's just like a cat paw on the side of the screen at all times. I think it's kind of an adorable thing. It's even bump mapped on the paw where the pads are. I think it's kind of adorable as well. So, you know, more sound effects, music, well, any music sound effects would be great. Obviously not necessarily a thing you can do in a week, but something I'd love to see if the game became fully fleshed out. If you're able to leave the room, go to other places, unlock stuff, that would all be great. You could even add cosmetic junk for your cat. I don't know. I sort of always go down this same gamification route for these sorts of concepts, but I find that they always tend to work. You know, if you were to perfect this level, knock over every single thing that's available, maybe you unlock a special cat with a different color scheme on his paw or something. I don't know. Could be fun. Anyway, that's going to do it for another episode, guys. I know a pretty short one, but this, you know, not a particularly deep game. Rightfully so. Every game doesn't have to be deep. I think this is fine for a concept, and I think it's pretty fun. So go check it out, free in your browser. Links in the description, as well as my social media links if you want to check out more in the series. This is actually, I believe, the 500th episode of Indie Impressions, this one right here today. So if you want to go check out 499 other ones, feel free to go visit my website, indie-impressions.com. You can sort them. They're all tagged for your perusal. You can look at the free ones, the Deathsora ones, the Steam ones, any various genres. Those are all tagged as well. So have a good time over there. Hopefully you enjoy it. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think of this game. If you have any ideas for how to further this sort of an idea or a concept, please feel free to let those fly in the comments as well. Also, any support you can give for the channel is much welcome. Likes are always great if you think I deserve them. And, you know, tell a friend that I'm doing a different indie game every single day. Haven't let up for 500 consecutive days now. I think that's probably something worth mentioning. I think it's a pretty cool thing anyway. So hopefully you guys will stick around. New episodes again every single day, so I hope to see you back here again tomorrow, and I hope you have a lovely night. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.